some bad news. So I'm actually refilming part of this video, and as you have seen from the title of the video, I am running a giveaway. Stay tuned to the end of the video where I will explain how you can win some beautiful yarn. So I am coming to you from a little over a week after the video you are about to see. What I'm about to talk about is my Champagne Cardigan. I decided to dedicate an entire video to the Champagne Cardigan because I think it's an amazing pattern, and I think everybody should make one and have it in their closet. It's just a classic piece that is not difficult to modify or just the sizing. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my process making it, the yarn I chose, all of the details I can think of about the Champagne Cardigan. As I was doing research for my own Champagne Cardigan, I realized there was kind of a dearth of information about the project, and Emily of High Fiber Knits did an entire video just on her cardigan, and I thought I would do a similar thing just to add to the library of information out there about this specific project. I know I personally love it when I can look up a pattern on YouTube and find a whole bunch of videos of people who have already made the project or are in the process of making the project. So I just wanted to share my final thoughts about the Champagne Cardigan. So I hope you enjoy. Hi everyone, I'm Alexa of This Alexa Knits, and today we're not going to do a knitting podcast. I'm very excited about the project I have to show you today, and it is the only finished object that I have, but I believe it deserves its own video, so that's what we're going to do today. First things first, what project am I talking about? The famous, the classic Champagne Cardigan. So you are obviously way too close to be able to see anything, so hold on please. All right, that's better. So here she is in all of her glory. This is my Champagne Cardigan, missing some buttons. We'll talk about that in a second. But here is my Champagne Cardigan. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. I need one in every color. I think everyone needs one of these in their closet. Please ignore all of my unwoven ends. This literally just came off the drying rack. You know how it is. Weaving in ends is the chore of all chores. So I'm loving the fit. I can stand up so you can get a better idea of where it hits me. My hip bones. So my hips are right about here. So it falls just about the top of my leg. So I would say like where my leg bends, that's where it hits. Once I have the buttons, it'll be a little bit easier to imagine. First things first. I did not knit the size that my measurements would have dictated I knit. Normally with petite knit patterns, I fall into the 2XL category. That would be the size based on my measurements and the intended ease. I knew going into this that I didn't want the cardigan to be that oversized. I knit a size 4, which would be a size large. I just did the math of the ease that I wanted based on my bust circumference measurement, and I settled on the size that would give me about 6 inches of positive ease instead of the 11 inches of positive ease. Next thing I want to talk about is my yarn choice. This is the Simply Wool Worsted Weight by Knit Picks. I made my sweater in the color Winnie, which is this beautiful oatmeal color. Really, really nice. Kind of a naturally heathered. I think this is an undyed yarn. I think. Now, because the yarn is worsted weight, I did hold it single to knit this cardigan. The cardigan pattern calls for a DK weight yarn held together with a strand of lace or mohair. All right, I'm gonna take this off because it is, I live in Miami and it is 85 degrees outside right now. I definitely thought that my yarn choice worked very, very well. I was thinking it could be nice to knit one in like a Knitting for Olive heavy merino. I followed the pattern instructions exactly, except for a couple of places where I messed up and then had to recover, but Followed the pattern instructions exactly. So that means on the ribbing, I did do the 2 rounds of double knitting and then did the tubular bind off, so you can see that actually looks really, really nice. Focus. Really, really nice and polished. The stitches look like they roll right over. The button band, I was a little nervous about starting this project because of the button band. I've never made a buttonhole before, and so I was kind of curious as to how that would work. I was a little nervous about messing up, but I can tell you, having knit this now, the button band may have been my favorite part. It was so nice to not have to purl anything after so many rows of stockinette. The buttonholes were also not as complicated as I thought they were going to be. The instructions and the videos that are included with the pattern make things really clear, really, really easy to follow. I think it adds a really nice, polished, finished look to the sweater. It really was just a joy to knit all the way through. I cannot say enough good things about this pattern. So everything you just saw was filmed a little over a week ago. Basically, the day or two after I filmed, I received the buttons from Knit Picks, put them on my sweater, and immediately got on a flight to Detroit, Michigan for Kyle's cousin's wedding. It was a beautiful wedding, wonderful weekend. The sad thing is, hours after putting the buttons on my cardigan and anticipating a weekend in chilly Detroit wearing my cardigan, I lost my cardigan at the Miami airport. I was at the ticket counter. We checked a bag, checked the bag, dropped it off. Well, I picked up, you know, you have to show them all the kinds of things. So I put the sweater down on the ticket counter, gave her my ID, gave her the flight information, dropped off the bag, picked up my sweater, had a shoulder bag, popped the sweater under my arm, over my bag, and then walked away. And that is the last time I saw my Champagne cardigan. I don't know what happened. It must have just slid off. The airport was crowded. Maybe I was, you know, I brushed against someone and it just got knocked loose. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I realized that it was missing as I was getting ready to put my belongings through security. Of course, I realized, where's my sweater? And if you're unfamiliar with the Miami airport, it's basically like a long U or V shape, and all the terminals kind of come off of this shape. We had to check in at the far terminal at one end of the V, and then our gate was more towards the middle of the V. So we walked through 3 terminals of the airport before I realized that my sweater was gone. I immediately ran back through all 3 terminals, exactly the path that we took. I asked any employee I ran into if they had picked up a sweater or if anybody had seen a sweater, but it didn't turn up. And at this point, we were getting closer to our departure time, and so I was getting really worried that we were going to be late for our flight if I took too much time looking. I'm running back to the security by our gate, and I am not a runner. So by the time I get back to the TSA checkpoint, I'm in tears. I'm just devastated. I was just so angry with myself for not realizing when it had fallen. I was feeling the emotion of never having even worn my cardigan. I had just put the buttons on an hour before we got in our Uber to go to the airport. I know it sounds ridiculous to be this upset over an object, but all of you guys out there who are makers, just like I am, I know you can imagine how terrible it would feel to sink hours and hours and your effort, your love, your attention, your care, and to just have it disappear. It just hurts. It really, really hurts. The worst part about it is that it was a perfect garment. It was the first garment I've ever made that was perfect. I mean, it wasn't perfect in the sense that, you know, I didn't follow the pattern exactly, right? I missed a row where I was supposed to do an increase, so I had to do it later. But I mean, other than that kind of stuff, it was perfect. My stitch counts were perfect. The fit was perfect. And I was so proud of myself for making that garment and doing something that was a little bit intimidating to me and taking on a challenge of doing something I hadn't done yet. And it just, so anyway, Kyle, who is an incredible man, saw how devastated I was, immediately retraced all of my steps trying to find the cardigan. When we got to Detroit, he offered to buy me a whole new batch of yarn so that I could make a new champagne cardigan. And so I did pick out some yarn. We went to the Knotted Needle in Grosse Pointe Farms, Detroit, Michigan. And they had just gotten in a shipment of the new Malabrigo washted in the color Procyon. I'll show you the tag. So I picked up 7 skeins of this. Oh no, it's so dark. There you go. Of this beautiful color. So this is the name of the color. It is in the Malabrigo Washted, which they say is a worsted weight. Ravelry says is an Aran weight. All right, sorry if the camera moved. I think I bumped it and then I had to try to fix it, so sorry about that. But so I'm going to show you all the skeins. I haven't wound yet because of course I came home and immediately cast on my new project. So we're in Michigan and it is full-blown fall. The leaves are changing colors. There was a little chill in the air. And so we walked into the Knotted Needle and I saw this yarn. And actually it wasn't the first color I saw. I initially saw, I can't remember the name of the colorway, but it was all neutrals. It was kind of like an oyster shell where it's like the different colors of white and gray and a little bit of color, but not really. And I was immediately drawn to that because, as you all just saw, I wanted a neutral cardigan. But then I saw these and just look at the blues and the greens and that bright red in here. Ugh. And I could not put this down. I grabbed a couple of these and I couldn't put them down. I mean, look at how gorgeous that is. I love this one with that bright red, but the greens and the blues, and it just screamed fall to me. And so I can show you what I've been working on. And it made me think of like one of those oriental rugs that's got the red background and like the little pops of blue and green. Can you picture what I'm talking about? Maybe I'll put a picture somewhere so you can see. But here is my swatch. So you can see what this fabric looks like. knit up. Now this fabric does seem a little thin. You can see there's like, it's a little bit, it's not gapey by any means, but you can definitely see behind it. But I did get, don't look at my nails, gross. But I did shockingly get gauge with this swatch. So I'm knitting a second Champagne cardigan in case that wasn't clear. And this is my progress so far. Hold, please. This is what I've done already. Ooh. So not too much, but a good amount considering, you know, it's only been a week. I'm obsessed with the way the fabric is knitting up. I think the colors are just so gorgeous. And even though I don't have my gorgeous neutral Champagne cardigan, I always knew I was going to make more of those anyway. I knew that my next one would be probably a fun color, not only as a palette cleanser, but just to create some variety in the projects that I make. So I will have a neutral Champagne cardigan. It just might not be, you know, for a few months. So I'm okay with that. My new Champagne cardigan is helping me heal. I think I need the fun colors to keep me inspired and help me do, you know, the same exact sweater immediately after I finish the other one. But that's my sad tale that I have to share with you all. Now let's get to the fun stuff. So, as I said before, I am running a giveaway, and let me explain how that came about. So, I decided I have all of this yarn in my stash, and if you want to know about my stash and how it came to be, please watch the first episode of my podcast. I explain all about it. But anyway, my stash is quite large, and it is made up of yarns I got to choose, but from a limited selection. So had I walked into a yarn store, a lot of these things weren't necessarily what I would pick up. In addition, I had just started knitting when all of these things came to me, and now that I've kind of grown as a knitter, my taste in fibers, colors, materials to work with has evolved. And a lot of the things in my stash are just not things I see myself using or enjoying having in my closet. They're things that I don't see myself wearing. Instead of all of this yarn sitting in my stash, waiting for me to find the inspiration, find the right project, and then just knitting it to knit it, why not give it to a good home? Why not send it to someone that would love to have it? The first yarn in the series of giveaway yarns I'm going to be offering is this. Let me just do one skein so you can see it better. This Colinette Parisienne Mohair. It is gorgeous. Shockingly similar to the yarn for my second Champagne cardigan. I mean, not exactly. You can see there's a difference. Although they do go shockingly well together, particularly this skein. Wow, maybe I should use this in my Champagne cardigan. That is so funny. I have 7 skeins of this Colinette Parisienne to give away. And so it is a mohair. 7 skeins comes out to approximately 1,600 yards, if I'm not mistaken. All of this is on my Ravelry stash page, and I will of course put the details in the description box below. But I really wanted you to just see this yarn. So you can see a little bit of lint. You can see all the beautiful colors, greens, blues, yellows, reds. It's overall kind of a burgundy color. A good project for this yarn, something that I probably would have made with it if I was interested in having it in my closet, is the Ghost Whisperer shirt. I will have that linked down below in the description box. I probably should have brought my computer with me to make this video so that I could give you the details, but that's just one pattern idea. You could of course use this. I think it would be really fun to use with like a cream base so that you can really see all of the colors in this mohair. So here's how you can become the new owner of this lovely Colinette Parisienne. Number one, make sure you are subscribed to my channel, and if you hit the bell icon, you will be notified every time I post a new video. Make sure to like this video by hitting the thumbs up icon down below, and leave me a comment of what you would make with this yarn if you win. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Subscribe, like, and comment with what you would make with this beautiful yarn. The giveaway will run until November 25th. So remember to hit that bell icon next to the subscribe button if you haven't already, so you don't miss my announcement of the winner. All right, guys, it's been good chatting with you. Even though it was a heartbreaking story I had to tell you today, and even though it took extra long for this video to go up because of this addendum, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.